What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ricardo, your NBA and WNBA sports journalist, and I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now and just think about what just happened, because I have been watching NBA basketball for a long time and covering it as a journalist even longer, and I have seen upsets. I have seen moments that made no sense. I have watched 8 seeds knock out 1 seeds and seen dynasties crumble overnight. But what just happened in Philadelphia tonight? The 76ers eliminating the Boston Celtics in 6 games is one of those moments where you genuinely have to sit back, take a breath, and ask yourself, what in the world is going on with this league? Philadelphia beat Boston 106-93. The series is over. The Celtics, the team that blew out Philly 128-96 just 2 games ago in Game 4 and looked completely dominant doing it, just got eliminated at home. In a Game 6 where Boston needed a win to stay alive and instead got completely outplayed for 3 quarters by a team that has been a mess all season. Let me just give you the quarter-by-quarter breakdown because it tells the whole story. Boston led after the first quarter 23-20. Fine, normal, competitive playoff basketball. Then the second quarter happened. Philadelphia outscored Boston 38-26 in the second quarter alone. 38 points in 1 quarter. They went into halftime up by 15 and they never looked back. The third quarter was even worse for the Celtics. Philadelphia outscored them 24-14. By the time the fourth quarter started, the game was already over. Boston made it look a little more respectable in the final period, outscoring Philly 30-24. But it was damage control at that point. The Celtics' biggest lead of the entire game was 5 points. Philadelphia's biggest lead was 23 points in a playoff elimination game against the Boston Celtics. Now let's talk about the individual performances, because this is where it gets really interesting. Tyrese Maxey was absolutely magnificent. 30 points, 50% shooting, 60% from 3, 5 assists, 2 steals. He was everywhere. He was making shots that guards 2 inches taller than him have no business making. He attacked Boston's defense relentlessly all night, and he made it look easy in a way that great players make difficult things look easy. Paul George went for 23 points and hit 5 threes at 55.6% from deep. 5 threes. Paul George, the guy who gets criticized every single year, who has this reputation of disappearing when it matters most. He showed up in the biggest game of Philadelphia's season and was incredible. 9 of those points came in fast break situations, which tells you he was moving, he was engaged, he was locked in from the opening tip. Kelly Oubre had 14 points and 9 rebounds and was a monster on the glass, finishing plus 23, which was the best on the team. And then there was Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid had appendix surgery less than 3 weeks ago. He had his appendix taken out. That is actual surgery. That is something that keeps normal people in the hospital for days and out of physical activity for weeks. And here he is in a do-or-die Game 6 of an NBA playoff series, going out there and playing meaningful minutes. He finished with 19 points on 10 rebounds and 8 assists in a game that Philadelphia won by 13. His efficiency wasn't perfect. He shot 33% from the field and had some struggles around the rim. But his presence, his ability to set up teammates, his willingness to be out there at all, it changed everything about how Boston had to play defense. They couldn't just forget about him. They still had to account for him. And that opened things up for Maxey and George to do what they did. 8 assists. The man had 8 assists 3 weeks after abdominal surgery. And as a sports journalist who has covered this league for years, I am telling you, I don't know what else to say about that except that it is one of the most remarkable physical efforts I have seen in a playoff game in years. If you're new here and you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that subscribe button. I cover NBA and WNBA every single day, and you do not want to miss what's coming next in these playoffs. Now let's talk about Boston, because I think we need to be honest about what went wrong here. Jaylen Brown had 18 points, but was minus 24 for the night and had 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers from your second best player in an elimination game is unacceptable. He shot 33% from the free throw line, which is 2 for 6. He was getting to the line and just not converting, and it was killing momentum at critical moments in the second quarter when the game started slipping away. Jason Tatum had 17 points and 11 rebounds, which sounds okay on paper, but he was minus 11 and had 3 turnovers of his own, 8 combined turnovers from Tatum and Brown in a game you needed to win to stay alive. That is where this series was lost. Not in one moment, not in one possession, in the collective inability of Boston's 2 stars to protect the basketball when it mattered most. Derek White was minus 25, Peyton Pritchard was minus 6, and shot 12.5% from 3 despite taking 8 threes. The Celtics shot 29.3% from deep as a team. In today's NBA, when you shoot under 30% from 3 in a playoff game, you almost always lose. Boston found out the hard way, and here's what makes this so stunning beyond just the numbers. The Celtics were the defending Eastern Conference powerhouses. They had the infrastructure, the experience, the coaching. They blew Philadelphia out just 2 games ago. 2 games ago, this series looked completely different. 2 games ago, you could have made a very reasonable argument that Boston was going to close this out comfortably. And then somehow, in the span of 2 games, Philadelphia completely flipped the script and ended Boston's season. This is not how anyone expected this to go. I think about all the preseason predictions, all the analysts who had Boston as the clear-cut favorite in the East, all the conversations about the Celtics being built for a deep playoff run, and all of it is gone now. The season is over. They got bounced by a 76ers team that has spent most of this year being a storyline about everything that was going wrong, rather than anything going right. But here's what I think people are going to miss if they just focus on Boston's collapse. Philadelphia earned this. This wasn't just Boston losing. This was the 76ers being genuinely incredible in Games 5 and 6. This was Maxey playing like a superstar. This was Paul George finally silencing his critics in the biggest moment. This was Embiid refusing to let surgery be the reason his team's season ended. This was a team that had every excuse in the world to fold. Their franchise player just had surgery, they were the lower seed, they lost Game 4 by 32. And instead of folding, they came back and won 2 straight to advance. Now what? Philadelphia advances to face the New York Knicks in the second round. The Knicks, who just obliterated Atlanta 140-89 in Game 6 and look absolutely terrifying right now. That series is going to be electric. New York versus Philadelphia, 2 of the most passionate basketball cities in the country, with a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals on the line. If you're a basketball fan, that's the matchup you want. But tonight belongs to Philadelphia. Tonight belongs to Tyrese Maxey and Paul George and Joel Embiid, who played through pain and discomfort and the weight of all the criticism and all the expectations and all the chaos that has surrounded this franchise. And they got the job done. The Celtics are going home. Nobody saw it coming. And the 2026 NBA playoffs just got a whole lot more interesting. I'm Ricardo, NBA and WNBA sports journalist, and that is your Game 6 breakdown. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, drop a comment below telling me if you saw this Celtics elimination coming, and subscribe for daily NBA and WNBA playoff coverage. I'll see you in the next one.